On January 19, 2025, President-elect Donald Trump announced his intention to suspend the security clearances of 51 former intelligence officials. These officials had previously claimed that the reporting surrounding Hunter Biden's laptop bore the classic earmarks of Russian disinformation ahead of the 2020 presidential election. This decision is seen as a direct response to the officials' actions during the election cycle, particularly in light of the subsequent confirmation of the laptop's authenticity. Background of the Hunter Biden laptop controversy. The saga began in 2019 when Hunter Biden's laptop was discovered at a Delaware computer repair shop. The device allegedly contained a wealth of information, including emails that suggested Hunter had introduced his father, then Vice President Joe Biden, to a Ukrainian energy executive. This discovery raised questions about potential conflicts of interest and foreign influence during Joe Biden's vice presidency. In October 2020, just weeks before the presidential election, the New York Post published a series of articles detailing the contents of the laptop. These articles highlighted allegations of drug use, questionable business dealings, and salacious photographs. The revelations sparked a media frenzy and became a focal point of the election narrative. In response to the reporting, 51 former national security officials signed a letter asserting that the laptop's contents had all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. This letter was used by the Biden campaign to dismiss the allegations and discredit the reporting. However, it was later revealed that the officials did not present any evidence to substantiate their claims of Russian involvement. Confirmation of the laptop's authenticity. In the months following the election, various investigations and media reports confirmed the authenticity of Hunter Biden's laptop and its contents. Federal authorities, including the FBI, verified that the laptop had not been manipulated and contained reliable evidence. Despite this, many of the former officials who signed the letter continued to stand by their original claims, arguing that their concerns were rooted in a legitimate worry about foreign interference in U.S. elections. Trump's announcement and its implications. On January 19, 2025, Trump declared that he would suspend the security clearances of the 51 former intelligence officials, labeling them as the spies who lie. This move was part of a broader strategy to reassert control over the narrative around national security and to push back against what he characterized as a coordinated effort to undermine his presidency during the 2020 election. Trump's decision was framed as a form of accountability for those who attempted to mislead the public regarding the laptop's contents. In his announcement, he indicated that this action would be one of many executive orders he planned to sign on his first day back in office, signaling a return to a combative political posture. Reactions from former officials. In the aftermath of Trump's announcement, reactions from the former officials were mixed. Some maintained that their original letter was a necessary warning about potential foreign interference, arguing that it was not a dismissal of the laptop's contents but rather a cautionary note based on their experiences in national security. Others, including high-profile figures like former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper and former CIA Director John Brennan, continued to contribute to mainstream media, where they offered critical commentary on Trump and his administration. Broader context and political ramifications. Trump's decision to suspend the security clearances of these officials reflects a larger trend in American politics, where narratives around national security and intelligence are highly politicized. The incident underscores the deep divisions in American society regarding trust in institutions and the role of intelligence in shaping political discourse. Trump's actions may also signal an attempt to reshape the national security narrative in favor of his administration, seeking to delegitimize critics from the previous administration. This move could resonate with his base, who often view the intelligence community with skepticism, particularly after allegations of bias and interference in the electoral process. As Trump prepares to assume office once more, his administration's approach to national security and intelligence may be marked by increased scrutiny of former officials and a re-evaluation of the narratives that dominate political discussions. In summary, Trump's decision to suspend the security clearances of 51 former intelligence officials is a significant political maneuver that highlights ongoing conflicts over the role of intelligence in American politics, particularly in the context of the Hunter Biden laptop controversy. This event is emblematic of a broader struggle for narrative control in a highly polarized political environment. The content presents several counterintuitive pieces of information regarding the suspension of security clearances for the 51 former intelligence officials who claimed the Hunter Biden laptop story was a Russian disinformation operation. Here are the key counterintuitive elements. 1. Confirmation of authenticity versus initial claims. Initially, 51 intelligence officials claimed that the information linked to Hunter Biden's laptop was indicative of Russian disinformation. However, despite their assertions, the laptop's contents were later confirmed to be authentic by multiple federal authorities, including the FBI. This contradiction highlights the difference between expert opinion and actual evidence, as the initial claim was made without corroborative evidence. 2. Lack of evidence for disinformation claims. The intelligence officials maintained that their letter was based on the classic earmarks of Russian disinformation, yet there was no evidence of Russian involvement provided at the time. This raises questions about the reliability of expert opinions when they are not backed by data. Their claims were later described as lacking substantiation, contrasting with their authoritative positions. 3. Continued defense of initial assertions. Despite the later confirmations of the laptop's authenticity, many officials who signed the letter continued to defend their stance. This persistence in maintaining their original claims even when faced with contradictory evidence showcases a phenomenon where individuals in positions of authority may cling to their narratives instead of adapting to new information. 4. Political ramifications of security clearances. Trump's decision to suspend the security clearances of these officials was positioned as a retaliatory action against what he termed their false implications. This action is counterintuitive, as it raises questions about the politicization of security clearances and whether such punitive measures could undermine the integrity of intelligence operations by instilling fear of retribution among officials who express dissenting views. 5. Public perception versus expert opinion. The situation illustrates a growing divide between public perceptions of the Biden laptop story and the views of intelligence officials. Many in the public believed that the content of the laptop was relevant to national discourse, while the officials attempted to frame it within a narrative of foreign interference. This disconnect reveals how expert interpretations can significantly differ from public sentiments and how such differences can be exploited politically. 6. Media dynamics and censorship. The content also reflects the complexities of media dynamics during an election year, where reports on sensitive topics like the Hunter Biden laptop were reportedly demoted by social media platforms like Meta. This suggests that the management of information can impact public discourse, potentially leading to misunderstandings about the information's validity and significance. 7. Conflicting roles of intelligence officials. Some of the signatories of the disinformation letter later took on prominent roles as commentators in major media outlets. This dual role of being both an intelligence expert and a media commentator brings into question the impartiality of their assessments and whether their analyses were colored by their political biases, thus contradicting the expectation of objectivity typically associated with intelligence officials. These counterintuitive points illustrate a complex interplay of politics, media, and the interpretation of intelligence, demonstrating how narratives can shift dramatically based on new evidence and the motivations of those involved in the discourse. In the context of Donald Trump's recent announcement to suspend security clearances for 51 former intelligence officials who claimed that the Hunter Biden laptop story was part of a Russian disinformation campaign, there are several key aspects of the report that may be overlooked by the general public. These aspects are significant for understanding the broader implications of this decision on national security political discourse and the relationship between intelligence agencies and the incoming administration. 1. The role of intelligence officials in political discourse. One of the most important yet often overlooked elements is the role that intelligence officials have played in shaping political discourse in recent years. The letters signed by the 51 former officials in October 2020, which asserted that the Hunter Biden laptop story bore the hallmarks of a Russian disinformation operation, was significant not only for its content but also for its timing and the authority it carried. This letter provided a veneer of credibility to the narrative that the laptop's contents were dubious, which had immediate implications during the election campaign. The significance here lies in the intersection of intelligence and politics. The opinions of former high-ranking officials can sway public perception and media narratives, especially in a politically charged environment. Trump's decision to suspend their security clearances serves as a direct challenge to the authority and influence these officials wielded, suggesting a shift in how future administrations may interact with intelligence communities. This could lead to a chilling effect on intelligence officials who might hesitate to express their views publicly for fear of repercussions. 2. Implications for future intelligence oversight. Another overlooked aspect is the potential long-term impact on intelligence oversight and accountability. Trump's actions could set a precedent for future administrations to retaliate against intelligence officials who publicly dissent or challenge the narrative of the sitting president. This could undermine the principle of a nonpartisan independent intelligence community, which is essential for national security. When political leaders use their power to punish dissent, it risks creating an environment where intelligence assessments are politicized. This can lead to a lack of trust in intelligence institutions both domestically and internationally. If intelligence officials fear for their careers, they may be less likely to speak out against potential threats or misinformation, ultimately compromising national security. 3. The narrative of disinformation. The framing of the Hunter Biden laptop story as Russian disinformation by these officials and the subsequent suspension of their security clearances also highlight the broader issue of disinformation in the digital age. Many people may overlook the significance of how narratives are constructed and deconstructed in a highly polarized media landscape. The initial claim of Russian disinformation was powerful enough to shape public perception and influence the election outcome. However, as the veracity of the laptop's contents became more widely accepted, the narrative shifted. The failure of the intelligence officials to substantiate their claims raises questions about the accountability of those who wield authority in the realm of national security and their responsibility to provide evidence for their assertions. This incident underscores the importance of critical media literacy among the public. Understanding how narratives are crafted and the motivations behind them is crucial for navigating a world increasingly fraught with misinformation and disinformation. The implications of this incident extend beyond just one political figure or event. They reflect a broader challenge of discerning truth in an era where information is readily manipulated. 4. The political consequences for the Democratic Party. The suspension of security clearances also carries significant political ramifications for the Democratic Party. While the initial letter from the former officials was intended to bolster the Biden campaign's narrative against Trump and create a sense of urgency regarding foreign interference, it has now become a liability as the authenticity of the laptop's contents has been confirmed. This shift could embolden Republican narratives that accuse Democrats of colluding with intelligence officials to influence the election. The long-term consequences may include a further hardening of partisan divisions and a potential erosion of trust in the Democratic Party, especially among voters who may feel that they were misled about the significance of the laptop story. Moreover, this incident may serve as a rallying point for Trump supporters and conservative media outlets, reinforcing their narrative of a deep state that seeks to undermine the president. This could have implications for future elections and the political landscape in the United States as trust in governmental institutions continues to wane. 5. The impact on Hunter Biden's legal challenges. Lastly, the implications of this decision extend to Hunter Biden's ongoing legal challenges. The confirmation of the laptop's authenticity has already played a role in legal proceedings, including federal investigations into Hunter's business dealings. The actions taken against the former intelligence officials could be perceived as a defense of Hunter Biden, framing the narrative as one of political retaliation rather than a genuine investigation into alleged wrongdoing. This intertwining of political and legal narratives complicates the situation for the Biden administration and may impact the dynamics of any legal proceedings that Hunter faces. If public perception shifts to view these legal matters through the lens of political vendetta, it could affect how they are reported in the media and how they are adjudicated in the courts. Conclusion. In summary, Trump's decision to suspend the security clearances of 51 former intelligence officials is laden with implications that extend far beyond a simple act of retribution. It raises critical questions about the role of intelligence in political discourse, the potential politicization of intelligence oversight, and the challenges of navigating disinformation in a highly polarized environment. Moreover, it poses risks to the political landscape, particularly for the Democratic Party, and complicates the legal challenges faced by Hunter Biden. Understanding these nuances is essential for grasping the broader implications of this significant political development. 1. Context of security clearance suspension. Donald Trump's decision to suspend the security clearances of 51 former intelligence officials stems from their public declaration during the 2020 election, which labeled the Hunter Biden laptop story as a Russian disinformation operation. This action highlights the ongoing political tensions and the contentious nature of information warfare in contemporary politics, particularly in the context of national security and intelligence community credibility. The implications of this decision signal a retribution against perceived political adversaries and a reaffirmation of Trump's narrative that the mainstream media and intelligence officials are part of a broader conspiracy against him. 2. Authenticity of Hunter Biden's laptop. The eventual confirmation of the authenticity of Hunter Biden's laptop by federal authorities contradicts the claims made by the former intelligence officials. This point raises critical questions about the standards of evidence and accountability in public discourse, especially concerning national security issues. The re-examination of the laptop's contents and the surrounding allegations, including potential foreign influence and corruption, emphasizes the role of investigative journalism and the importance of fact-checking in today's media landscape. 3. Impact on intelligence community's reputation. The public stance of the 51 former officials, many of whom are now prominent commentators in media, casts a shadow over the integrity and trustworthiness of the intelligence community. Their refusal to retract or regret their claims despite the subsequent validation of the laptop's contents invites scrutiny over how political biases can influence intelligence assessments. This scenario illustrates the potential risks of politicization within intelligence agencies, which can undermine public trust in their impartiality and effectiveness. For political ramifications and future implications, Trump's punitive action against the former officials is emblematic of a broader strategy to reshape national security discourse and to concurrently discredit former government officials who oppose him. This move not only signals Trump's approach to governance but also sets a precedent for future administrations regarding the treatment of dissent within the intelligence community. The long-term implications for institutional integrity, the balance of power within national security agencies, and the potential for further polarization in American politics are crucial areas for ongoing analysis and discussion. These 4 points provide a foundation for a deeper examination of the interplay between politics, intelligence, and public perception in the current American landscape. 1. The Dreyfus Affair 1894–1906. This political scandal in France involved the wrongful conviction of Captain Alfred Dreyfus, a Jewish officer in the French army, for treason. The case was marked by anti-Semitism and a miscarriage of justice, as Dreyfus was accused of passing military secrets to Germany. The affair divided France and led to a significant public outcry, ultimately resulting in Dreyfus's exoneration in 1906. The incident highlighted issues of national security, wrongful accusations, and the impact of political and social biases. 2. The Watergate Scandal 1972 to 1974. This major political scandal in the United States involved a break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate office complex and the subsequent cover-up by members of President Richard Nixon's administration. The scandal revealed widespread abuses of power leading to Nixon's resignation in 1974. The Watergate affair underscored the importance of accountability and transparency in government as well as the consequences of political conspiracies and misinformation. 3. McCarthyism 1940s to 1950s. This period in American history was characterized by heightened fears of communism and the aggressive investigation of alleged communist activities led by Senator Joseph McCarthy. Many individuals in government, entertainment, and other sectors were accused of being communists or communist sympathizers, often without substantial evidence. This resulted in a culture of fear, the violation of civil liberties, and the blacklisting of many professionals. McCarthyism serves as a historical example of how political rhetoric and allegations can lead to significant repercussions for individuals and society at large. Future outlook, predictions following Trump's suspension of security clearances. The recent announcement by President-elect Donald Trump to suspend the security clearances of 51 former intelligence officials who questioned the authenticity of Hunter Biden's laptop has significant implications for U.S. politics, intelligence operations, and public trust in government institutions. As we look ahead, several predictions can be made regarding the consequences of this decision and the broader political landscape. 1. Increased polarization in U.S. politics. The suspension of security clearances is likely to deepen the existing political divide. Trump's supporters may view this as a necessary step to hold accountable those they see as having misled the public, while his critics will interpret it as an authoritarian move meant to silence dissent. This polarization could hinder bipartisan efforts on national security and intelligence reforms, as each party may become increasingly distrustful of the other's motivations and actions. 2. Impact on intelligence community. Trump's actions may have a chilling effect on the intelligence community, where officials might fear repercussions for expressing opinions or conducting analyses that differ from the administration's narrative. This could lead to a more homogeneous thought environment, reducing critical thinking and debate within intelligence circles. Over time, the quality of intelligence assessments may suffer, which could have dire consequences for national security. 3. Future of disinformation campaigns. As the Biden laptop saga illustrates, disinformation remains a potent tool in modern politics. Trump's punitive measures against those who question the narrative may embolden further disinformation campaigns from both sides. Entities seeking to manipulate public opinion may feel more empowered to operate without fear of scrutiny, knowing that political motivations can override established truths. For media relations and accountability, the relationship between the media and intelligence officials could become strained, as former officials may be less willing to engage with journalists, fearing backlash. This may lead to a gap in public knowledge regarding national security issues, as critical insights from seasoned intelligence professionals could become less accessible. Furthermore, journalists may face increased criticism for reporting on intelligence matters, complicating the media's role as a watchdog. 5. Public trust in institutions. Trust in the intelligence community and government institutions may further erode. The perception that intelligence officials are being punished for their views could lead the public to question the objectivity of intelligence assessments. This skepticism may extend to other governmental agencies and exacerbate feelings of disenfranchisement among citizens, particularly among those who already feel alienated from the political system. 6. Legal and ethical implications. Legal challenges may arise, as affected intelligence officials might contest the suspension of their clearances, citing rights violations or improper motivations behind the decision. This could lead to lengthy legal battles that draw attention to the ethics of political retribution against career civil servants, potentially resulting in new legislation aimed at protecting whistleblowers and safeguarding the integrity of the intelligence community. 7. Electoral consequences. As Trump solidifies his base with such moves, He may also alienate moderate voters who are concerned about the implications of targeting intelligence officials. This could shape the dynamics of future elections, particularly as 2026 midterms approach. The electorate may increasingly demand accountability and transparency from their representatives, leading to a potential backlash against candidates who support such punitive measures. 8. Shift in national security strategies. Trump's administration may adopt a more aggressive stance on perceived threats from foreign adversaries. This could manifest in changes to foreign policy, military strategy, and diplomatic relations. The administration may prioritize nationalistic policies that emphasize U.S. sovereignty and reduce international cooperation, potentially leading to increased tensions on the global stage. 9. Rise of grassroots movements. The suspension of clearances could galvanize grassroots movements focused on government accountability and transparency. Activist groups may emerge or strengthen, advocating for reforms in intelligence oversight and the protection of civil servants from political retaliation. Increased public engagement in these issues could reshape the political landscape and influence future policy decisions. 10. Long-term legacy of Trump's presidency. Finally, this event may contribute to the historical narrative of Trump's presidency, with scholars and political analysts debating its significance for years to come. How this decision is perceived in hindsight, whether as a necessary purge of those misaligned with national interests or as a dangerous precedent for politicizing intelligence, will shape future discussions about executive power and accountability in the U.S. government. In conclusion, Trump's decision to suspend the security clearances of former intelligence officials is poised to have wide-ranging effects on U.S. politics and governance. The coming years will reveal how these dynamics unfold, influencing everything from electoral outcomes to the integrity of the intelligence community and public trust in government institutions.